It is General Leia Organa Saturday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. A student of a Dzogchen master asked her Lama what he saw when he looked out upon the throng of students. He said, "I see stars." To which the student responded, "Maybe we should all see each other as stars now, especially during this time of contention." And there is a subtle difference with a huge ramification. It's called a quantum change. The teacher was inferring a metaphor. Instead of saying literally, when I gaze upon you, spontaneously, I see you as the firmament in the desert sky at night. He spoke in a very concise way, which is common if one has spent their lifetime reading ancient texts. Culturally, the American student understood that, and because the American student was indoctrinated to be rigid and controlling, they interpreted it literally. And then they continued with the theme of controlling tendencies and rigidity and said we should all contrive our perceptions. We should all contrive visualizations. We should all force ourselves to see others in a specific way. Now that might have the highest of intentions, or golden intention. However, Lao Tzu, the author of the Tao Te Ching, warns us that once we set out on the path of contrivance and of controlling tendencies, our intentions no longer matter. We're going to do harm to ourselves and to others. This is why the first Dzogchen teacher, the great reformer of Buddhism, who lived in the Swat Valley in the 6th century, known as Prahe Vajra, taught that visualization practices were as impotent as children's games, and that it was far better to simply notice what comes up, whatever comes up, whether that which comes up is external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. And our attitude towards whatever comes up must be to be vulnerable, passive, visceral, random, and fleeting. But that's not the end of the story. When our inhalation turns to exhalation, and our perception and our noticing turns to exhalation and release, we can find ourselves letting go of our resistance to what we just perceived. We can find ourselves letting go of our resistance to the absence of that which we find desirous. We could find ourselves letting go of our resistance to the presence of that which we find dreadful. That is the path of the Buddha. That is the path that the Buddha inferred in the Satipatthana Sutta could enlighten someone in as little as 7 days. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, and it really should not surprise us that the teachers who teach in this manner are in the extreme minority. And that even though, then we read the history, we look at the ancient Shastras, we look at the students of the man who taught that, and they didn't get that. They taught the path of contrivance. And so many people are stuck in contrivance with the best of intentions. So let's bring this back to the present moment. If you're in America, you are on the cusp of a rather contentious election, and emotions are running high. and you could recognize the tendency to feel really strong and unforgiving emotions towards others. The solution is not to force ourselves to ignore what we feel and fight what we feel and contrive a visualization that the people who are A-okay with genocide or A-okay with denying women medical autonomy are glorious stars. That might make you feel rather spiritual. That might repress your perception of the hate that's already there, but it will not remedy it. The first enlightenment factor is mindfulness. Anything that counteracts mindfulness, like repression, is going to, for want of a better phrase, retard our spiritual growth. We don't want that. So my invitation to you, my request to you, my plea to you, is to exercise the courage to notice whatever comes up. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Notice what comes up as we breathe in. Notice what comes up non-conceptually, without needing to use any other label than the demonstrative pronoun this for whatever comes up. And let your body help you relax into the acceptance of whatever comes up as you breathe out. And you will find that doing so makes acting on our negative impulses an impossibility.